With its grand arches and terracotta towers, the Midland Hotel has cast long shadows across Manchester for over a century. Built in 1903 at the height of the railway age, it was more than just a hotel, it was a statement, a place of power, prestige and possibility. Grade 2 listed and elegantly preserved, it once welcomed important figures from across the globe, including the influential Old Colony Club, a group of American cotton magnates drawn to the city's industrial might. Today, it stands not only as a luxury landmark, but as a keeper of whispers from the past, echoes of glamour, ambition, and secrets that still linger behind those doors.
The Midland Hotel in Manchester is an iconic landmark, said by some to be one of the jewels in Manchester's crown. But it's an interesting one, that's for sure, full of stories of glitz and glam, Nazi rumours, and even a mysterious death. So, in today's video, I'm going to bring you along to the Midland in Manchester and share some of those fascinating stories. My name's Claire, this is The Wanderlust Way, and that's enough waffle, let's wander. The Midland Hotel opened in 1903 and it was built by the Midland Railway Company as a destination for those well-heeled travellers coming up from London to Manchester. Now they would have passed through the Manchester Central Station and just a short feet away would have reached the final destination at the Midland.
The Midland Hotel wasn't just built, it was engineered into existence by ambition. In 1903, the powerful Midland Railway Company opened this grand hotel to cater to the elite travellers and business magnates arriving into the heart of Manchester. The railways were a key artery in Britain's industrial boom, and the Midlands stood as a proud gateway to the north. Manchester, once nicknamed Cottonopolis, was the powerhouse of the cotton textile industry. The city played a pivotal role in shaping the modern world, pioneering the first factory system, the first working canal, and the first intercity railway in the UK. And right in the middle of that innovation rose this hotel, a monument to Victorian confidence and Edwardian elegance. Designed by Charles Trubshaw, who also created the Midland Hotel in Bradford, this Grade 2 listed masterpiece was built in Edwardian Baroque style. All bold curves, sweeping arches and intricate stonework. It cost around £1 million to build, which is the equivalent of over 130 million today. It stands at 16 Peter Street, near St Peter's Square, and just a short walk from the Central Library. When it first opened, the Midland was more than just a place to stay. It featured a billiards room, a reading lounge, an ornate concert hall, and even a rooftop garden where guests could take afternoon tea while overlooking the city. That rooftop did close though in 1910. Perhaps the view of industrial chimneys and smoky skies no longer had the same charm. I don't know, but here's a fun fact for you. That very rooftop did make a comeback in recent years when Liam Gallagher filmed the video for his song Better Days up there, bringing a touch of modern rock and roll to this storied location. Today, after a £14 million renovation, the Midland remains one of Manchester's most iconic hotels, home to 312 bedrooms, 14 luxury suites, a fabulous spa, and more than a few stories waiting to be told.
Now, one of the most famous stories of the Midland Hotel is that on the 4th of May 1904, it is here that Charles Rolls met Frederick Henry Royce.
It was May 4th, 1904. Charles Rolls, a wealthy aristocrat and motor enthusiast, had already begun importing luxury cars from Europe. Frederick Henry Royce, by contrast, was a self-made engineer, precise, methodical and quietly brilliant. He'd just built a 2-cylinder motor car of his own design, the very first Royce car, in his Manchester workshop. A meeting between the two had been arranged by Henry Edmonds, a mutual acquaintance and member of the Automobile Club. And where better to host such a gathering of minds than the Midland Hotel, elegant, central and a favourite spot for Manchester's business elite. It's said the men sat down here for lunch, struck up an immediate respect for one another, and within hours had agreed to a partnership. Royce would build the cars, and Rolls would sell them under the name Rolls Royce. That first model, known as the Royce 10, would evolve into the Rolls Royce 10 HP, and by 1906 the company was officially formed. It would go on to create some of the world's most iconic luxury vehicles, becoming a byword for engineering excellence and British prestige. But here's the twist. Despite the story being told countless times, some historians argue there's no definitive proof that the meeting happened at the Midland. There's no formal records, only oral history and local legend. But myth or not, it's a tale that's become part of the hotel's DNA and Manchester's motoring folklore.
Now, during its time, the Midland has welcomed lots of celebrities, including royalty, prime ministers, and it's where David Beckham and Victoria Beckham are said to have had their first date.
For more than a century, the Midland Hotel has drawn the great and the powerful through its grand revolving doors. Behind its polished exterior lies a history not just of architecture and ambition, but of famous footsteps, each leaving behind whispers of a moment in time. We'll start off with Winston Churchill, who is said to have stayed here during his political career. The Midland offering both discretion and distinction in a city that powered Britain's war effort. In a stark contrast, however, it's rumoured the hotel wasn't far off the radar with the Führer himself, Adolf Hitler, who soon found his eye on this building, but for very different reasons. More on that soon. But aside from Churchill and Hitler, who else took a shine to the Midland? Well, the Queen Mother dined at the hotel's restaurant following an evening at the theatre, and in the decades that followed, the hotel remained a magnet for stars of stage and song, including Frank Sinatra, who visited during a tour in the 1950s, and Pavarotti, who is thought to have found quiet comfort within these luxurious walls. But even fame couldn't bend all the rules. One of the Midland's most enduring stories is that of the Beatles, turned away from the hotel's fine dining restaurant, the French, for failing to meet the dress code. No suits, no service, not even for the Fab Four. From its earliest days, the French was considered one of Manchester's finest dining rooms. In 1974, it made history by becoming one of the first restaurants in Britain to receive a Michelin star, a rare honour at the time and a legacy that still carries weight. And among the more modern legends, well, of course, we've mentioned David and Victoria Beckham, who apparently shared their very first date right here at the French restaurant back in 1997. So from royalty to rock stars, opera to pop, the Midland has played silent host to countless stories. Some celebrated, some secret, but all part of the tapestry that makes this hotel more than just bricks and history.
Now, there is another story about the Midland Hotel and its connection to the Manchester Central Railway, and it lies just beneath my feet.
Beneath the Midland Hotel, there are whispers of a hidden tunnel, one said to stretch from the old Manchester Central Station directly to the hotel itself. Originally built to offer discreet access for the wealthiest guests, this passageway was once described as beautifully tiled, linking the bustle of the train platform to the quiet luxury of the Midland's interior. It was elegance with purpose, a way for society's elite to arrive unseen, untouched by the weather or the crowds. But the stories don't end there. According to rumour, this tunnel wasn't just a walkway, it once held a barber shop, a post office, and even a private casino. Now, whether these tales are all truth or just echoes of the hotel's opulent past, I can't say for sure. Access is restricted now, sealed off to all but maintenance staff and those with special permission. But for those who have caught a glimpse or claim to have stepped inside, they describe an eerie stillness, cold air, a still ambience, and for some the unmistakable sound of scissors snipping in the distance. Some say the ghosts of a long-departed barber still linger there, quietly tending to clients that no longer exist. I wasn't able to explore it myself, not this time, but just knowing it's down there, beneath the polished floors and grand dining rooms, adds another layer to the mystery of the Midland.
Now, one of the rumours about the Midland Hotel, and this is possibly one of the most controversial, because people are still debating over this one, is that had the Nazis successfully managed to invade Britain, Hitler had his eye on it as a potential Nazi headquarters.
During the Second World War, Manchester was no stranger to destruction. In the winter of 1940, the city was heavily bombed during the Blitz. Firestorms lit up the skies, buildings were flattened, and entire streets reduced to rubble. Yet, curiously, some of Manchester's most iconic landmarks were left standing. The Town Hall, the Central Library, and the Midland Hotel. It's from this observation that one of the city's most enduring urban myths began to grow. The rumour that Adolf Hitler had personally earmarked the Midland as a potential Nazi headquarters should Britain fall under German occupation. The story goes that Hitler, said to have had a fascination with classical architecture and grand public buildings, admired the Midland for its imposing Edwardian Baroque style and strategic central location. Some even suggest it was this admiration, his alleged plans to repurpose the hotel, that led to it being spared during the bombing. The Midland, after all, was more than just a hotel. It had a theatre, prestige, a presence that dominated the heart of Manchester. To some, it makes a strange kind of sense. But not everyone is convinced. Skeptics point out that Hitler never actually visited Manchester, and wartime bombing, while devastating, was far from precise. The Luftwaffe couldn't simply skip a building because of future plans. Bombs didn't work that way. Still, the story has stuck, repeated in books, whispered in tours, and debated in pubs. Myth or not, it's a tale that lingers, another layer in the mystery and majesty of this remarkable hotel. So, what do you think? A lucky escape or a chilling plan that never came to pass?
Now, one of the strangest tales from the Midland Hotel is the mysterious death of Mr. James Story, and it started here on the 6th floor.
It's the year 1906. The hotel is still in its infancy, grand, prestigious, and soon to be the setting for a mystery worthy of Agatha Christie herself. Among its guests that April was a man named James Ashburner Story, aged just 32 and managing partner of the Heron Chemical Works in Lancaster. A respected businessman, an upstanding member of society, and not, by all accounts, someone you'd expect to vanish in the night. He checked in as normal. Some reports suggested he may have dined in the restaurant that evening, perhaps even finished off with a game of billiards. His room was on the 6th floor, one of the hotel's highest, with sweeping views over the city. But by the next morning, James Story was gone. Hotel staff entered his room to find it mostly untouched. His personal belongings were neatly arranged, his bed unslept in, but of James there was no sign. Police were called and a search of the building began. Then, out on the veranda, investigators found something unusual. An air shaft just wide enough to admit a man's body. Peering into the well below, they discovered the crushed remains of James Story. The circumstances made little sense. The air shaft was several feet above floor level, difficult to access even deliberately. There were no signs of a struggle, no clear evidence of intent, and no witnesses of the event, just unanswered questions echoing through cold stone. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened to James Story inside the Midland Hotel. Was it an accident, something darker, or something stranger still? The case was closed, but the story has never really faded. It lingers, just like many of the stories here, a quiet shadow in the history of one of Manchester's most mysterious landmarks.
That's it then, folks. Thank you so much to everybody for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of some of these stories. Do you believe them all to be true? What about those Nazi rumours? What do you think? My name's Claire. This has been The Wanderlust Way. Thank you to everybody that supports the channel by watching, commenting, liking, subscribing and sharing. If you want to see more, then obviously please do subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.